What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Touchdowns to Home Runs, and I am here today to talk some more college football. We got the SEC starting back up this Saturday. I already made my picks for all the SEC games this week, so definitely go check out that video if you haven't already seen it. But I was just up this morning. I was thinking about how the SEC is all going to play out this year because I'm excited that it's coming back and everything. I was thinking how it's going to play out. Each team has to play a 10-game all-conference schedule, and we know that the SEC is by far the most stacked conference in college football. There's no doubt about that, and every single team has to play an absolutely stacked slate of good quality teams constantly, week after week in the SEC. So that just got me thinking, in general, is there any team that I think will go undefeated? And when I thought that, the first team that comes to mind, obviously the team that has been the most dominant for the last decade or 2 decades, the Alabama Crimson Tide. I just got to thinking, can Alabama or will Alabama go undefeated in SEC play this year? And I just thought it was really interesting, and I felt like I needed to make a video on it. So that's what I'm here for today, to give you my thoughts on how Alabama will do this season. And if they can go undefeated, because it's going to be hard this year. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be hard. You're playing an all-conference schedule, and you've got some pretty good teams out in the SEC this year. And with COVID and everything, there's just so much unknowns that literally anything could happen this year. So that's what I want to talk about today. First, I want to look at Alabama's depth chart. They released it for the Missouri game on Saturday. Looks like we have Mac Jones starting at quarterback, Najee Harris at running back, no shock there. And then you got Devontae and Jalen Waddle as your 2 main receivers. Defense, you got Dylan Moses back, and then in that secondary, you still got Patrick Surtain, and you got Jordan Battle out there in the secondary. So overall, their team is looking good. Obviously, they lose Tua. They lose Tristan Wills, or Jarek Wills. Which one was that? The guy that the Browns drafted, he was from Alabama. They lose Jerry Jeudy. They lose Henry Ruggs. So those are some big guys that they lost on this team, especially in that offense. And I just want to ask you a question straight off the bat. Did Alabama go undefeated last year with the team that everyone thought was one of the best college football teams of all time, one of the best offenses of all time? You had Tua, Najee Harris, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, and Henry Ruggs. You have 4 first-round wide receivers, a first-round running back, and a top 5 pick quarterback, all in one offense, so they thought they were going to be unstoppable, and the defense was still going to be good last year. But did Alabama go undefeated last season? And that answer is no. They lost to LSU. Now, you can't blame injury on that one. Tua played in that game. Najee played in that game. All 4 of the receivers played in that game. And it was a close game, but did they lose? Yes. The Auburn game, I know that Alabama fans are going to make excuses for that one because Tua was hurt. Mac Jones played. It was still a very close game, but they lost because of an injury to Tua. That's what Alabama's fans are going to say. I feel like anytime I make a video on Alabama's fans always get pretty mad at me. So it takes guts for me to come out here and make this video about Alabama because I still think that they're a really good team this year. Like, I still think that they're going to win the West. But what I'm talking about right now is, can you go undefeated? And I think this season that is going to be really tough. Because just looking at their schedule, if we skip to that for a bit. Also, another thing I wanted to add, going back to that Auburn game, you say, oh, Mac Jones is the quarterback of this game. Well, who's going to be your quarterback for all of this season? Or most of this season? Depends what Bryce Young does when he comes in. Mac Jones is starting Saturday. He could be starting the week after that. He could be starting the week against Georgia. He is your quarterback this season right now. So the fact that he lost to Auburn doesn't make an excuse for why Alabama should have won that game, because he is going to be your quarterback for this season. So obviously, like I've said, you got Missouri. They're in Missouri for 7 o'clock this weekend. Should be a decent game, but I'm pretty sure Alabama's going to blow Missouri out in that game. The next week, this is actually on 3 days, something that I've been planning with the Helinskis. Me and the Helinskis, if you don't know the Helinski story, Tyler Helinski, Washington State quarterback, committed suicide back in 2018, and since then his family has taken it upon themselves to create a foundation for mental health, especially surrounding college football and college athletes surrounding mental health. So we have created a day to promote that, and we have Alabama and Texas A&M in. Alabama's going to be wearing helmet stickers that game, and they're going to be raising up 3 fingers for the first play of the third quarter. So that's going to be really cool for me to watch. So if you're an Alabama fan or a Texas A&M fan, definitely keep your eyes peeled for that CBS game on October 3rd. Look for those helmet stickers, and when you do, just be aware that mental health is real and that it surrounds these student athletes and everything. Just because they're on the football field and everything doesn't mean that their lives are perfect. Just because you think that the life that they're living is perfect doesn't mean that everything that's going on in their life is perfect. So just keep your eyes peeled out for that. That's something that's really cool that I've worked hard on, that we've all worked really hard on that Helinski's host team, and that we're really proud of. And it's great to see that Alabama and Texas A&M are going to be participating in that. Next, they go. First off, I want to talk about that Texas A&M game, actually, because I actually think that Texas A&M is a pretty decent team this year. Kellen Mond, I'm excited to see what he has this year. He's a senior. He has experience. Texas A&M is a decent team. That could be a trap game. It's not a game that many people expect Texas A&M to win, but not many people expected Johnny Manziel to come into Tuscaloosa and win that game, and he still did. So Texas A&M has showed that they can win in Alabama. It's not impossible. Obviously, Kellen Mond isn't Johnny Manziel, but it still is what it is. Next, they go to Oxford, October 10th. They're in Ole Miss. That should be an easy game. But the next week, this is the big week in the SEC. October 17th, you have Florida, LSU, and then you have Georgia versus Alabama. This is probably Alabama's game that they have circled for the whole season. It's either this one or the LSU one. This is going to be a game that they can lose if you just circle that. Games that you can lose. So you have that Georgia game. Next week, you go in Rocky Top. You're in Tennessee. Tennessee's looking like a good team this year. I know they're dealing with COVID things, but who knows if Tennessee's playing at home, Tennessee could pull something out and maybe shock Alabama. Like, this isn't a game, again, that Tennessee will be favored to win or be the favored to be close to even will be favored to be even close to coming to win. But Tennessee still is a decent team and could pull up a shocker here. Next week, October 31st, Halloween at home versus Mississippi State. Then you got a bye week. Then you have November 14th at LSU, which is the other huge game. It's on CBS. I think it's going to be a night game. This is the huge game for Alabama. They have to go to the defending national champions who beat them last year. I know LSU lost a ton, but still you have to go to Death Valley. I don't care if there's 100,000 fans there or there's 20,000. It is never an easy place to play. So that's definitely going to be a tough game. Versus Kentucky. Kentucky, people think are a decent team this year. I'm not too huge on Kentucky. I've said that over and over again. So I think that Alabama should have this one easy. I think that's Thanksgiving weekend next weekend. I'm not sure, but it's versus Auburn in Alabama. Again, a team that they lost to last year. See what Bo Nix does this year. See what those two receivers in Anthony Schwartz and Seth Williams do this year. So that could be a tough game too, but it's in Alabama. I think that's going to help them. And they finish it out on December 5th at Arkansas, which Arkansas is one of the weaker teams in the SEC, so that should be easy for them. But just going back through the schedule, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd say 5 games that are losable games for Alabama. I wouldn't say that they're going to lose all of them, not even close to losing all of them, but there are 5 games that I've circled that can be losable games for them. Versus Texas A&M, versus Georgia, at Tennessee, at LSU, and then versus Auburn. Obviously, you'll have Georgia and LSU as the 2 ones that they are most likely to lose, and then Tennessee and Texas A&M are kind of like upset alert games. They could pull a shocker, but it's not favored to. And then Auburn's kind of in the middle. Alabama's going to be favored to beat Auburn, but we know what Auburn's able to do against Alabama. Auburn usually beats Alabama when Auburn is at home, and this game's in Tuscaloosa. But Auburn is still a good team, and you can't doubt them. So those are 5 losable games. And just going back, can Alabama actually go undefeated in those 5 games? Because I think it's really just those 5 games. If they're able to go undefeated in that, they'll go undefeated in the season. I don't see them losing to Missouri. I don't see them losing to Ole Miss. I don't see them losing to Mississippi State. I don't see them losing to Kentucky. I don't see them losing to Arkansas. So it's really just those 5 games. And with COVID and everything, you never know when one of your star players is going to go out. You never know injury-wise and everything. There's just so much questions in this year that I don't think that Alabama can go undefeated in all these games. I'm predicting that they go like 4-1 in all these games, that they're going to at least drop one. It's going to be hard to win all 5, especially with COVID, and you have no idea what's going on and everything. Can Alabama go undefeated, though? Absolutely. Alabama, in my opinion, is the most talented team in the SEC still. But to be able to go undefeated and not slip up once in a season with just so many question marks, I think is going to be pretty tough. So that is my opinion. Alabama will not go undefeated in SEC play this season. They definitely can, but in my opinion, and if I had to put money on it, they will not. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I appreciate it. If you're a college football fan, definitely go drop a sub below, hit that like button, drop a comment about your opinions about Alabama down below, because we love talking about college football on this channel, and we know you guys love college football. So definitely stick around for more, and thank you for watching, and come back next time.